Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I'm Dorothy Morgan, professional astrologer. We're going to talk about the moon in Aries, and this is for the astrological forecast for June 22nd. And the moon is quite active on this day throughout the day. And I'm going to show you that chart. We're going to talk about what that means. It is playing ball with Mars in Aries. And the sun is at very early Cancer because the sun just hit that solstice point. So there's a lot of energy that we call cardinal in the sky right now. And we're very motivated to begin things, to create, to initiate when we have this much fire and cardinal energy. All right. I'm going to share that screen with you in just a moment. In the meantime, just want you to also know we'll do some astro dice, and at the end we will also pull a card. Just gives us extra insight. More info is better. And more info comes from coming and getting your own astrological reading. That's what I do that too. I'm going to share the screen because I love teaching what I love to do. So I'm going to show you what I'm looking at and why I am looking at what I'm looking at. So let's get started. We have the moon at 21 degrees of Aries. It's making an exact conjunction to Mars at 21 degrees of Aries. By the way, in these forecasts, I will not talk about the ascendant or midheaven or the house placements because everybody is in a different place on the planet when they see this. So the house placements will be different. So will the ascendant and midheaven. So this is a chart for the snapshot for the moment in time. You will see in the top corner over here, if my face isn't in the way, hopefully it's not. June 22nd, 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, my latitude and longitude, okay? Your latitude and longitude is different and your time zone might be different. So that places things in different places. So the overall energy of this for everybody, if you choose to use it, even you don't even have to use it, but you may witness this because everybody on the planet will be feeling this. And this moon in Aries is courage. It's taking a chance, speaking up for yourself. Now, since it is in the same location as Mars, and Mars in his own rulership in Aries, fantastic. So this does give us the motivation to accomplish things, to do things, to move forward. However, we are in a waning lunar phase. It's after the last quarter. So we have 1.5 phases left to go before we get to that new moon next week. And so what this shows me in a big way is that, yes, be courageous, take chances. However, it is more in the realm of releasing things, tying up loose ends. So if you can find a way to use this Aries energy, especially that moon conjunct Mars in Aries, to do something maybe you've been thinking about doing for a long time, like the ideas and even part of the process is already started, you've already begun it. This could be a great opportunity for you to finally find the motivation to pull that thing off the back burner and spend the next, 7 to 10 days, the new moon. The next few days. The new moon is actually in 6 days. So spend the next week doing what you need to do to get something out of that back burner, bringing it to the front burner. And that just means something that's just been on hold for a long time, bringing it to the front. This is going to be good for a lot of people. Find the Aries section in your chart, and that section is what's really highlighted and dominated. My Mars personally, my Mars is 22 Aries and it's in my 12th house. So all of this is knocking on the door. It's not knocking on the door. It's in my 12th house. So internalized things from the past, things inside, things that are unconscious coming to the surface. That's just how it is for me. I'm not sure how it is for you, but if you look at the house placement, and you get out your books and you read up what house this is in, where is 21 degrees of Aries for you, you'll get added insight. With that quincunx over there to the south node in Scorpio, this is, again, a global process. Let's go back to that piece. This is something that's happened to everybody at this moment in time. That gives us this opportunity. This Aries wants to take charge, and that south node in Scorpio is about, the regeneration or the letting go of things that really need to be let go of, that process of things transforming and changing and evolving. So we could see this in a number of ways. We can look at it nationally too. I don't want to go into that piece because that's just not for me, but a lot of people will. All right. We also have today, we haven't got there, but let me animate this. And I'm just going to, they're even really near each other over here by declination. This measurement by zodiac is different than the declination measurement. And over the next few hours, as I'm moving ahead 1 hour at a time, you can see how they're together and coming together here, but they're separating here. So this means this conjunction between Mars and the moon, by the zodiacal measurement and by the declination measurement, they're both very nice. They're nice and tight. So we have the motivation to accomplish something. And again, since we're in that waning lunar phase, it's definitely about either completing something that's already started, but was sitting there simmering, doing nothing, and you're really putting the fire to it now, or it's certainly about letting some things go. Yeah. And then Venus, if we got to speak to Venus, I mean, I have Venus in Gemini, and Venus enters the sign of Gemini just before 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Let me get the exact time. It's actually 8:34 p.m. Eastern Daylight is when Venus enters the sign of Gemini. And that is a lot of duality around communication and information. All right. And there's more. We'll talk about that in the next forecast. All right. We're going to pause the astrology. Always more in Patreon if you want to come and do that. All right. Let's roll the dice. This is where we have the astrology dice. One is the houses, one's the zodiac signs, and one is the 10 planets plus the lunar north and south node. Those are a life path. So what is spirit? What extra message are we going to get with this today? The moon in Libra in the 12th house. We've had the moon show up lately an awful lot. So when the moon in Libra is in the 12th house, it's definitely the energy of that, and the extra message from spirit, or to answer a question if you happen to have one. It's about taking the relationship, finding that emotional balance, emotional moon in Libra balance, taking that, finding that emotional balance between the outer world and the inner world. 12th house is the inner world. So we're looking to find that balance. And if you're somebody who works in psychology or in a hospital or institution type places, then this is definitely about, this is about you finding a balance between your home and your work. Okay. And that's really true for those who work in the medical field, or in an institution of some kind. All right. You know what that means. Institutions, hospitals, prisons, churches, anything. I know all three of those in one. Well, sorry, I didn't mean to put it that way, but you know what an institution is if you don't look it up. So if you happen to be somebody who works in institutions of some sort, or are very much of service to others, the role of that dice is reminding you to find the balance between what you need and how you're serving others. Okay. We don't want to overdo it, because we always do. And with the moon in Aries, I mean, geez Louise, we are like conjunct Mars. There can be some anger that comes to the surface, some just unresolved anger for anybody can come to the surface. And if you're recognizing that and you're like, what is going on here? Process it, address it, look at it and say, well, I am mad. What am I mad about? And since this conjuncts my Mars, I know if I'm out and about doing things and I start feeling pissed off about something, it's not typical. It's not my typical nature. But when Mars connects with my Mars, it happens every 2 years. So I just make sure I'm aware of it. And it's like, oh yeah, Mars is rearing its ugly head. Mars is active is what I would actually say. And it's just like, so if am I angry for a reason? And it's usually no. It just, you can just feel it rising. Trickster. Well, it could be fooling us too. Coyote came up again. Haven't seen coyote in a while. We're in the peak of the summer in the northern hemisphere, and there's all this snow. Anyways, it's, you know, it's about trusting your mind, trusting your thoughts, and the energy of the trickster. Sometimes I forget what it really is. It's that information. The trickster is very much a Gemini-like energy, which is about information and just sharing the information, but maybe only sharing what you want to share because you'd rather keep some of it to yourself. So if you're feeling the stresses and the tension of all of this Aries energy, and the Aries energy that's in a difficult aspect, the quincunx to the South Node in Scorpio, thinking of the trickster as Gemini energy as well. Play, have fun, try and feel light about things, try and lighten up a little bit, if you will. But it's also that, reminds us things aren't always as they seem. So if you're really angry and upset about something, breathe, give it a little bit of time and allow things to sort of settle out. And we're going to need to be able to do that a little bit these days too. We are in some, this stuff can really show up with people who have unresolved. A lot of people who have unresolved anger, this can really show up in a really negative way. And those who don't have unresolved anger, or who are aware of the anger coming to the surface, again, I'm back to the Moon-Mars conjunction. You can process that, exercise more, just do things and process whatever's coming up and not take it out on anybody. And some people will find the courage that they need to do what it is that they need to do. And that's one of the gifts of Moon in Aries, conjunct Mars in Aries. All right, everybody. Namaste. I'll see you tomorrow.